Elihu also proceeded and said, suffer me a little, and I will show thee that I have yet to speak on God's behalf. I will fetch my knowledge from afar, and I will ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my word shall not be false, for he that is perfect in knowledge is with thee. Behold, God is mighty and despiseth not any. He is mighty in strength and wisdom. He preserveth not the life of the wicked, but giveth right to the poor. He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous, but with kings are they on the throne. Yea, he doth establish them forever, and they are exalted. If they are bound in fetters and be holden in cords of affliction, then he showeth them their work and their transgressions that they have exceeded. Verse 10. He openeth also their ear to discipline, and commandeth that they return from iniquity. If they obey and serve him, they shall, every man may see it. Men may behold it afar off. Behold, God is great, and we know him not. Neither can the number of his years be searched out. For he maketh small the drops of water, then pour down rain according to the vapor thereof, which the clouds do drop and distill upon man abundantly. Also can any understand the spreading of the clouds, or the noise of the tabernacle? Behold, he spreadeth his light upon it, and covereth the bottom of the sea. For by them judgeth he the people. He giveth meat in abundance. With clouds he covereth the light, and commandeth not to shine by the cloud that cometh betwixt. The noise thereof showeth concerning it, the cattle also concerning the vapor. Job chapter 37, verse 1. At this also my heart trembleth and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice, and the sound that goeth out of his mouth. He directeth it under the whole heaven, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After the voice roareth, he thundereth with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them with it. His voice is heard. God thundereth marvelously with his voice. Great things doth he, which we cannot comprehend. For he saith to the snow, be thou on the earth, likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. He sealeth upon the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. Then the beasts go into dens and remain in their places. Verse 9, out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and the cold out of the north. By the breath of God frost is given, and the breath of the waters is straitened. Also by watering he wearieth the thick cloud. He scattereth his bright cloud, and is turned round about by his counsels, that they may do whatsoever he commandeth them upon the face of the world and the earth. He causeth it to come, whether it be for correction, for his land, or for mercy. Hearken unto this, O Job. Stand still and consider the wondrous works of God. Dost thou know when God disposed them, and caused the light of his cloud to shine? Dost thou know the balancing of the clouds, the wondrous works of him which is perfect in knowledge? Hast thy garments warm? Thy garments are warm when he quieteth the earth by the south wind? Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass? Verse 19. Teach us what we shall say unto him, for we cannot order our speech by reason of darkness. Shall it be told him that I speak? If a man speak, surely he shall be swallowed up. And now men may not see the bright. Now men see not the bright light which is in the clouds, but the wind passeth and cleanseth them. Fair weather cometh out of the north, which God is terrible majesty. Touching the Almighty, we cannot find him out. He is excellent in power and in judgment, and plenty of justice he will not afflict. Men do therefore fear him. He respecteth not any that are wise of heart. Job chapter 38, verse 1. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkened the counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Where was thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare it if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched out the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the corners of stone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Or who shut up the sea with doors, when it brake forth, as it had issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swallowing band for it, and brake up for my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, hitherto shalt thou come, but no further. And here shall thy proud waves be stayed. Verse 12. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the day spring to know this place, that it might take hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned to clay up to the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Have the gates of death been opened unto thee, or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare it if thou knowest it all. Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? Thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and thou shouldest know the paths of the house thereof. Verse 21. Knowest not it, because thou wast when born? Knowest thou it, because thou wast then born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? But by what way is the light parted, which scattereth the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided the water course for the overflowing of waters, or way for the lighting of thunder, to cause it to rain upon the earth where no man is, on the wilderness where there is no man, to satisfy the desolate and waste ground, to cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth? Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dew? Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost from heaven? Who hath gathered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and as the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influences of Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orient? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? And canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that the abundance of the waters may cover thee? Canst thou send lightnings, that they may go and say unto thee, Here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Who hath given understanding to the heart? Who can number the clouds in wisdom? Who can stay the bowels of heaven, when the dust groweth into darkness, and the clouds cleave fast together? Wilt thou hunt the prey for the lion, or fill the appetite for the young lions? Will they couch in their dens and abide at the covert to lie in wait? Who provided for the raven his food, when his young ones cry unto God, and they wander for lack of meat? Job chapter 39, verse 1. Knowest thou the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth? Or canst thou mark when the hinds do calve? Canst thou number the months that they fulfill? And knowest thou the time when they bring forth? They bow themselves. They bring forth the young ones. They cast out their sorrows. The young ones are in good liking. They grow up with the corn. They go forth and return not unto them. Who has sent out the wild free ass? Or who has set out the wild ass free? Or who hath loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house have I made the wilderness and the barren land in his dwellings? He scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth the crying of the driver. The range of the mountains his pasture, for he searcheth after every green thing. Will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide by thy crib? Verse 10. My word. Canst thou bind the unicorn with his hand in the furrow, or will he howl the valleys after thee? Wilt thou trust him because his strength is great, or will thou leave thy labor to him? Wilt thou believe him that he will bring home thy cedar gathered into thy barn? Gavest thou the goodly wings unto the peacocks, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich? Would leaveth their eggs in the earth, and warmeth them in the dust? Or forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them? She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain without fear, because God hath deprived her of wisdom, neither hath he imparted to her understanding. What time she lifted herself on high, she scorneth the horse and his rider. Hast thou given the horse strength? Hast thou closed his neck with thunder? Verse 20. Canst thou make him afraid as a grasshopper? The glory of his nostrils is terrible. He paweth at the valley and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth on to meet the armed men. He mocketh at fear and is not affrighted. Neither turneth he back from the sword. The quiver rattleth against him. The glittering spear and the shield. He swalloweth the ground with fierceness and rage. Neither believeth he that the sound is of the trumpet. He saith among the trumpets, Ha ha. And he smelleth the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Doth the hawk fly by thy wisdom, and stretch her wings toward the south? Doth the eagle mount up at thy command, and make her nest on high? She dwelleth and abideth on the rock, upon the crag of the rock, and the strong place. From thence she seeketh the prey. Her eyes behold afar off. Her young ones also suck up blood. And where the slain are, there she is. Job chapter 40, verse 1. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contended with the Almighty instruct him? And he that reproved God, let him answer it? Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay my hand upon my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice I will not proceed further. Then the Lord answered Job unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man, and I will demand thee, and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me that thou mayest be righteous? Hast thou an arm like God? Or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. Cast abroad the rage of thy wrath, and behold everyone that is proud, and obeys him. Look on everyone that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Then I will confess unto thee that thine own right hand can save thee. Behold now, Behebeth with I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar, and sinews out of his stones are wrapped together. Verse 18, his bones are as strong as the pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lieth under the shady trees in the covert of the reed and fens. The shady trees cover him, him with their shadows, with the will of their brook compass about him. Behold, he drinketh up a river and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan into his mouth. He taketh it with his eyes. His nose pierceth through snares. Job chapter 41, verse 1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? Canst thou put a hook unto his nose, or bore his jaw through with a sword? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Can thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Verse 11. Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his faith? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together with his close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light does shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and the sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goes smoke, and out of his seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals in the flame, goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together, and they are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. As hard as his firm as stone, he is hard as a piece of nether millstone. When he raiseth himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings they purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth him cannot hold. The spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. Excuse me. He maketh the path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon the earth there is not like his, who is made without fear. He beholdeth all things. He is king over all the children of pride. Job chapter 42, verse 1. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and thou that no thought can behold with thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard by thee the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself, and repent in dust and ashes. And so it was after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job. The Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for you've not spoken me of the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. Therefore now take unto you 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering. And my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, and that ye have spoken to me the thing which is that ye have not spoken to me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, Zophar the Naamathite went and did according as the Lord had commanded them, and the Lord accepted Job. And the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends, and the Lord gave him twice as much as he had before. Then there came unto him all his brethren and all his sisters, and they that had been his acquaintance before, and did eat bread with him in the house, and they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 she-asses. And he also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of the first Jemimah, and the name of the second Keziah, and the name of the third Karen-Hapuk. And in all the land there were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and the father gave them inheritance among their brethren. After this, Job lived 140 years and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. So Job died, being old and full of days.